Hello guys, today we're going to take a look at Action Square's upcoming game, Gigantic X or GX, and why you should definitely have it on your radar. So I'm personally really excited about GX's upcoming launch, so I thought the best way to explain why is to actually show you, and this is what GX feels like. And I have to immediately disappoint you and tell you that GX is not available as of the recording of this video. But it's set to launch on July the 29th, 2019. That sounds a bit confusing, but 29th of July 2019, that's the launch date. Also a disclaimer here before we move forward, this video is based on what I experienced during the soft launch, which was back in April and lasted for a month. So we don't know how different the release build will be, but we can assume that the core of the game will largely be the same. So GX is a really dynamic, action-packed, isometric looter shooter, but it's also a bunch of other things that we'll get into later. For now, the point is you collect gear and also materials for crafting more gear. It's very fast-paced, but also very challenging, and you truly need to get good to get anywhere in the game. From what I've gathered on their Discord server, link in the description by the way, there is a genuine effort to keep the game's monetization model fair. So that's part of the reason why I'm excited about it, because we're hopefully looking at a game that is really fun to play and one that rewards skill instead of a fat wallet. And I have neither. So as I already mentioned, the gameplay is best described as dynamic, in case you didn't gather that from the teaser earlier. Essentially you dodge melee and projectile attacks of all sorts and then shoot back when you manage to catch a breather. When you really get into that flow, it's so satisfying to just control the battlefield with well-timed dodges and counterattacks and your skills. It's great. The game is very challenging at times too, especially when it gets into that bullet hell territory, which it often does. Things can get overwhelming if you aren't prepared. Luckily, you can choose from 3 characters and a wide variety of arsenal to get through it all. You can pick which character to take on a specific mission, so you're not stuck with one class forever. One is a melee, one is ranged, and there's also the classic soldier. Each character feels and plays different. The gear you equip also determines your passive and active skills, so builds are a thing and experimenting is also a thing, and it's actually necessary because GX is not an easy game. Boss fights are a big part of it, and to win those you need to learn how bosses behave. They're built around patterns that you need to memorize, and then you need to figure out what will be your build choice for the specific encounter. There's a learning curve, but in the end of the day they're meant to be defeated, and as long as you persist and farm them, they become more manageable. Especially so if you take some other players along for the ride. There's co-op mode. It's co-op mode on top of all of this. Holy So I mean, you can team up with 2 other players. GX is meant to be a PvE game, and the co-op twist is a plus in my book. But what about PvP? PvP was a very popular request during soft launch, and we've seen sneak peeks from the devs trying to put a PvP mode together, but we don't know anything about it so far. We'll have to wait until launch to see if it's ready, or if it's coming later, or if it's coming at all. My take on this is that it has to be enjoyable, and it has to make more sense than just slapping everyone into one arena for a mindless brawl. If it's there just for the sake of being there, maybe it shouldn't be there at all. But we'll see about PvP, it's a mystery right now. And for those of you that, like me, prefer to play their games with a controller, there will be controller support when the game launches. We still don't know exactly what will and will not be supported. That's something we'll find out at launch, and everyone's feedback will be much needed then, so more controllers can be supported in the future. But anyways guys, that about wraps it up. Fingers crossed that GX is a success. There's a genuinely fun game here and it shows that a lot of creative and design effort went into it all. If you want to follow the game's development, I've put the links in the comments below where you can pre-register and follow the game on social media. I'd personally recommend you get on board on Discord. It's the best way to stay up to date with news and announcements. And it's also a bunch of nice people there, so if you have any questions whatsoever, that's the place for you. For all things GX, subscribe to this channel, and if this sounds like an exciting co-op experience you'd like to try with some friends, don't hesitate to share the hype. Woohoo! Woo.